So today we are standing here together, united. We are here as Messiah Young is in court right now from an incident that occurred last night. And we stand united with him. This morning, I woke up hurt by the news of the incidents that occurred yesterday. And I think it's important that as a people, we channel our emotions and we move into action, an actionable plan, so that we can start demanding justice. Young people are feeling as though they are not being heard. And it's important that we ensure that their voices are heard today. I am joined by a group of amazing young elected officials. Representative Erica Thomas, Representative Park Cannon, State Senator Nikema Williams, Dr. Rashad Richey, Commissioner Natalie Hall, the NAACP Chapter President for Atlanta, Richard Rose, Commissioner Natalie Hall, I said that, Portia Williams, Dennis McKinley, and East Point City Council, Karen Renee, and the young people of Atlanta are standing with us together. We want to hear from you. We want to make sure that your voices are heard today and that we continue to push forward in ensuring that action is taken. So we decided to come together today at this press conference to put together a plan of action to move this city forward. We can no longer allow the actions of excessive force in this city to go unchecked. And we today will introduce plans that will be instituted on the city and state and county level to ensure justice is heard. If you want your voice heard, young people, we have put a line together that you can call and express your concerns so that we can hear from you. You can reach us at 470-542-9657. We are praying for our young people, our city, and our nation. Without further ado, I will bring forth Representative Park Cannon.
I'd like to thank you all for being here today. My name is Park Cannon, and I stand here, a 28-year-old Georgia-born girl who is absolutely frustrated and disheartened by the continued escalating tactics of policing taking place in the state of Georgia. What we know in this time is that young people are speaking up and are speaking out about police brutality, but they are not being listened to. And we are standing here in the middle to say, share the full story of what is going on in America, in Atlanta, and in Georgia. We look forward to bringing forth the announcement on tomorrow, June 1st, of creating a Metro Atlanta Uprising Task Force. That task force will mirror the other task force related to criminal justice reform rolled out by our previous governor. And we will continue to bring together community organizations that stand with us here today, the NAACP, Sister Song, More Melanin, More Power, the students from the AUC, and others, to say that we must put structural changes in place to address these issues. We know that excessive use of force can be put in a database. We already have legislation for that. We know that official immunity needs to be challenged in this state of emergency and crisis in which the policing tactics are increasingly being escalated. We will look forward to hearing from you on our hotline so that you can tell us more about what is going on in the community. And in the meantime, look out for more information about the public announcement of the Metro Atlanta Uprising Task Force on tomorrow, June 1st. Now I will bring from the same chamber as myself in the Georgia House of Representatives, Representative Erica Thomas.
Thank you so much for that, Representative Park Cannon and Councilman Antonio Brown. I know that young people and everyone out there is outraged, and they don't want to just see a press conference. They want to see action. That is why we have young elected officials standing here today, because we want action just as much as you all. And we want to let you know that there is a bill out there that we have introduced, HB 636, but we need you to amplify your voices and to tell people that you want this legislation passed. This legislation would make police accountable for use of force and have a public database where we, the people, can see who are these police officers that have excessive use of force. Too many times has this gone under the rug. I know you all remember when we stood with Mama Campbell when she was drugged out of her car while Uber driving. An older woman was drugged out of her car, not resisting arrest. We were outraged then, and we are outraged now. We want to hold these people accountable, but again, it's up to you. You need to reach out to your senators and to your representatives and say enough is enough. We want HB 636, and we want it now. Without further ado, I would love, and it's my honor, to introduce the chair of the Democratic Party, and also someone that knows excessive use of force and peaceful protesting oh so well, Senator Nikema Williams.
Thank you, Representative Thomas. I'm State Senator Nikema Williams, and I also serve as the first Black woman to ever chair the Democratic Party of Georgia. I stand before you today having been arrested from the state capitol during a peaceful protest and was taken to the jail that stands behind us, right here at Rice Street. So I know that peaceful protesting still lands our people in jail. Today, I'm here to talk about an action that we all need to be taking. In just a few days, on June 9th, we can raise our voices at the polls. We have the opportunity to elect district attorneys across the state. We have the opportunity to elect local judges across the state. We have the opportunity to elect more state representatives and more state senators that will be standing on the side of the people to have their voices heard. But we can't do that without your voices at the polls. On June 9th, I need you to show up at the polls. I need you to vote, and I need you to continue to pay attention as we take our voices to November. Also, I want young people in this state to know that we see you, we hear you, and we are with you. And we cannot do this without hearing from the voices of young people. So I have with me today Kel-Asia Chamblee, a rising senior at Clark Atlanta University, and we want to hear from Kel-Asia today.
Thank you all so much for being here. It means so much to us to have everyone standing unified in front of our nation right now. As a student at Clark Atlanta University, we are mourning and grieving the traumatizing and disgusting video that we saw on live TV of our Morehouse brother Messiah and our Spelman sister Tanaya yesterday at 9:14 p.m. when local officials announced a curfew 15 minutes after they decided it for us. We are here, the student movers of 1965, and we're asking every student across the world to join our movement as we peacefully work to promote positive change in our community. We cannot be quiet anymore. We can no longer sit back. We have to promote positive change in our community. The things that are going on in our country, it's up to us to fix. Please get behind Student Movers 1965 as we work to facilitate and promote positive change in our country. Thank you.
Oh yeah.
Thank you, Kel-Asia. And we know that we cannot do this without having our voices uplifted in the media and making sure that our stories are told and our voices are heard. So now we're going to hear from Dr. Rashad Richey.
Who are we? Who are we when we can sit on the couch, see a murder, see a lynching, and just think, wow, that was a bad day for that person, and do absolutely nothing? Who are we? I know that many people are upset right now because buildings are being damaged, but buildings can be replaced. Black lives cannot. Exactly. Please understand that the individuals who are behind me and some who are in front of me, we are all solution-based. Over the last few days, I've been bailing out protesters since Friday night. I have not slept much, broadcasting, reporting, tweeting, and bailing folks out of jail. I'm at my wit's end. A lot of people have asked me, well, Rashad, what would Dr. King have said about protesters? What would Dr. King have said about these riots? Well, first of all, protesters and rioters are different. But I want us all to remember that every single one of them are American citizens. And there's a collective frustration that even if we don't engage in it personally and we don't condone it, there's some of us who simply step back and say, you know what, though, I kind of understand. Can I just be 100? Yeah. Dr. King already spoke about this. You don't have to wonder what he said. Dr. King said, and I quote, America must see that riots do not develop out of thin air. Certain conditions that continue to exist in our society must be condemned as vigorously as we condemn riots. That's what Dr. King said. Today I stand before you because the world is listening. And I'm saying to my colleagues in the media, and I'm saying to my fellow colleagues as university professors, it is time for us to utilize our collective platforms to tell the true story, to allow young people to be heard. Because as Dr. King also said, a riot is the voice of the unheard. So today we're telling you, we're listening. And I'm calling every single one of my brothers and sisters who work in media to listen as well. We have an awesome opportunity here to tell the true story of this country. This country is in a battle for her moral heart, and we are at the center of that battle. I'm going to bring back up Councilman Antonio Brown.
So in closing, before we open up for questioning, I just want to say that, I understand that our young people are hurting out here. We all do. That's why the young elected officials and those that are not young, that believe in the cause in which we're all standing for, is here to support us moving into a place of action. So I ask the young people, please, if you want your voices heard, I'm going to give the number one more time before we move into questions. You can reach us at 470-542-9657. I'll bring up State Representative Erica Thomas, who will direct questions.
Thank you so much, and thank you for everyone that is standing, behind us as well and in front of us. We have young people standing in front of us, and we appreciate you being out here in this heat. I would like to take questions. Do you have any questions?
One question is, so someone calls the number, and then what happens?
So what we're trying to do is, we can't be everywhere in Metro Atlanta. And so what we try to do is to create this line so that we can be able to hear from the people. We'll just try to answer as many calls that we can. But if they do leave a message, we're going to try to get back to them. Or we'll try to let other elected officials know and other people know what their message is. We are trying to craft that message for them, but we don't know. We're only representatives, and that's what it says on our badges, representatives. And we can only represent you all if we hear from you. And so that's the point of our calling. So the website is online at Georgia General Assembly. It's georgia.ga.gov, and you just type in HB 636. You also can follow Renita Shannon. She is the main author of that bill. We all co-authored the bill as well, but you can follow Renita Shannon on social media. You can also follow us all on social media. Mine is Erica Thomas. We're really trying our best to put out information on our social media pages what's going on, so that people can follow us as young people and hear from us, and we can hear from you. And we listen to your DM, we answer DM, and we also will be trying to answer that phone as much as we can.
Can you kind of just explain for everybody listening to us now live at Mississippi? Can you just kind of reinforce what the bill would do and where it's at in legislation?
So HB 636 right now, it's called the Use of Force Bill, and where it is they are trying their best not to even let us get a committee hearing. They're not even letting us get it to the House floor. They're going to try to defeat this bill left and right. And so what we're saying is that with this use of force bill, what it would help us to do is to have a database for police officers that have used excessive use of force, so that the public can hold them accountable. And so we really need to get this bill passed. But like we said earlier, we need young people. We need everybody out there that has a phone, that has an email, to email your representative. You can go to votesmart.org and put your address in. You can find out who your representative is, get their information, call them, email them, and let them know that you want this bill to get to committee, you want this bill to get passed, and rally around it.
So what's the ultimate goal? So I guess if you're understanding this right, you're just creating a database, but where does it go from there? So does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yes, it does.
So as the legislation stands at this time, the feedback has been whether we take a general approach to the idea of use of excessive force, or we take a specific approach. If we take a specific approach, it involves judges, it involves sheriffs. If we take a general approach, that is the public being able to hold these officers accountable. As many people know, you can always make an open record request. If you need information on how to make those open record requests, our office can facilitate that for you. You can call our hotline to find that out. But the goal of the legislation is to put together actionable items that other elected, appointed, and otherwise powerful officials can use in order to hold police officers accountable in their official role.
I have a question. Can you talk about the hate crime bill? I know Georgia does not have one, and I understand the new legislation is out there to put the hate crime bill in Georgia. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Luckily, in the state of Georgia, we have the largest Black caucus in the country. And the Georgia Legislative Black Caucus, chaired by Representative Karen Bennett, brought forth a bipartisan bill to address the subject of hate crimes in Georgia. What we know about hate crimes in Georgia is that they don't just look one way. And so what we need is to create, in the same way, a database, a file system, a way for the policing officers to put these infractions into a system for review. So the legislation was very contentious on the House floor as we stood there with each other, praying and hoping that the stories of injustice would reign louder and ring louder than the stories of suppression. And we won, just barely, by a few votes. And that day, since that day, that bill has been languishing in the GOP-dominated Senate. We call today, yesterday, and tomorrow for the public to hold our legislators accountable to passing House Bill 426 when we go back into legislative session on next week.